Did you know that the current king was the first UK royal baby to be born without a Minister of State being present as an official witness? British and European royal bedchambers used to be constitutionally active spaces. Meetings with dignitaries were often held there, official documents could be signed there, and by custom, births, deaths, and consummations of marriage were witnessed by an assortment of ministers and courtiers. There's a reason for this, and it's not because the aristocracy are perverts. Hereditary monarchies hinge on their bloodlines, so to protect legitimacy, every stage of the reigning family's life cycle must be ratified, validated, by both the palace and the state. Queen Victoria was really the first British monarch to close the bedroom door, and royal births were thenceforth officially witnessed only by the Secretary of State, up until 1948, when Elizabeth, not yet Queen, gave birth to Charles by caesarean section, attended by 2 knighted obstetricians and the royal midwife. By then, I'm guessing, it was considered indelicate and unnecessary to subject the king's daughter in her travail to the intrusive masculine gaze of the government. That could safely be left to the good doctors. Thanks to this post-war evolution of Victorian patriarchal prudery, the monarchies of the modern age have gained an unprecedented immunity from the invasions of privacy that used to be one price of their privilege. It's important to note that historically the witnesses were in the bedroom to ensure the success of a politically important event and also to ensure no foul play. Even royals can't entirely be trusted. No one should be trusted with that much power. The witnesses ensured the smooth and accountable running of the monarchical machinery. But in the modern context, in which the formal contract between Crown and State can no longer be observed or enforced inside royal domestic spaces, and effectively no civic authority polices the family and its interactions, a troubling hypothetical suggests itself. What if there were a tragic accident, some domestic catastrophe? These things happen, even in the finest houses. What if there were no witnesses, or only ones who could be kept quiet? How would the machine run then? This video is speculation, not allegation, and its intent is to raise questions about the latitude granted to the royal family since its domestic sphere became closed to state monitoring. If, as it turns out, there is at least essential truth to the current palace narrative and Princess Catherine is indeed battling cancer, I offer my sincere condolences and wish her a speedy recovery. But if this sudden, unprecedented, oddly mismanaged absence were in fact due to an unexpected and critical demise, how would the palace scramble to manage the threat? When it was announced that Catherine had had major surgery in January and would be out of action until April, there were eyebrows raised about the suddenness of the news and the long recovery time, but whatever, she's a princess. But as it slowly became clear that unlikely to return to public duties actually meant won't be seen at all, anywhere, except in extraordinarily rare, grainy, unconfirmed paparazzi long shots, will not give the briefest of updates with honest current photos, will not, in fact, make any concessions to contemporary standards of accountability and transparency, then more than eyebrows began to be raised. Even the BBC had felt moved to point out when reporting Kate's surgery, the princess had a full diary in December, and there was no indication that she was unwell during public appearances. So here's a brutal truth that perhaps the compliant, complacent media are preventing the palace from seeing. If you want to stop people speculating, you're going to need to give them hard proof, the old-fashioned way. And you do want to stop people speculating because it is far too easy to remember those famously fiery Kensington Palace arguments. Perhaps William tried Charles's infamous line to Diana on Catherine. Did you really expect me to be the first Prince of Wales not to take a mistress? An angry tussle? An unlucky fall? A shocking, impossible tragedy? Even the hypothetical is treasonous. But an incident in which William is implicated, perhaps culpable? Instant constitutional crisis. The king is old and ill. Now both his sons are out of the picture, and there's no Catherine to play regent to George. Unless the ailing Charles and the hidebound palace machinery can make a deal with Harry, the House of Windsor would fall, probably taking the monarchy with it, and no doubt tanking the British economy. That's why the appearance of deception in this matter has me so worried. It is easy in such a situation to consider deception well justified, and so to be willing not to question the palace's story or the prince's integrity. But the British royals gained a black American fan base, then enraged it. And as a result, there are thousands of indignant, small-r Republican, firmly feminist eyes focused on the palace's treatment of women who marry in. American conversations now reach English lounge rooms. They're articulate, pointed, forthright, and often influential, and they do question the prince's integrity. And a prince with suspect integrity cannot hold a crumbling kingdom together. Were the palace faced with any scandal that could even appear to implicate a prince in the line of succession, I do not for 1 second believe there would be the slightest impulse to or question of disclosure. The palace would craft and deploy a carefully designed narrative, albeit from the back foot and not without stumbles. How their behind-the-scenes disaster management protocols operate, I can't begin to imagine. But we know how the PR machine works. First, they request privacy, which apparently, at least in this case, inhibits the paparazzi. Otherwise, why are they not clustered, camping out around Windsor, elbowing each other out of the best spots to snap a passing royal car? The hottest missing person in current affairs internationally apparently left the royal compound on at least 2 separate occasions, and all we got is 2 dubious photos. It's almost like those shots were staged and planted. Either way, why is the documentation as threadbare as the narrative? Concerned citizens across the Commonwealth and beyond are not violating Kate's privacy when they demand she be presented live. They're just wanting solid proof it hasn't already been far more grossly violated. But wait. Royal mouthpieces report that while Kate's convalescing, William is taking the kids to school every day. And if the kids are okay, then Mum must be okay, right? Someone was all up in my comments. We have video of him taking the kids to school. I swear, I've seen it. No, you haven't. The most recent video of the family walking to school is from last September. And those images were shamelessly reused by outlets recirculating the drip-fed, text-only story of William the Good Dad stepping up. Again, how easy would it be to get current shots of William dropping the kids to school on his own, if indeed he is? And how much would those images be worth? Odd that no one's covering it. Still, no leaks from the school either. If the royal children have been distraught or suddenly begun boarding, no one's mentioned it. Nothing's leaked anywhere. Maybe I'm just being alarmist after all, I thought. I expect we'll see her soon. And then we got the farm shop video. I thought I'd talked myself down from my worst fears about Catherine's absence, but I watched quite a few analyses of the video, and between them they looked at everything. There's the timing of the release, a hearsay report from one outlet, a bit of bystander video from another. Plant the idea, provide the evidence. Tidy, effective, professional. There's the oddness of this very performative little outing. The way the William figure keeps his capped head down, while the Kate figure, trademark hair rippling as she strides ahead, laughs back at William, lifts her smiling face slightly toward the camera, then modestly lowers it again. Yet somehow No little knots of locals have gathered to greet the princess after her very public, extended absence and illness. No one yells, "Welcome back, Your Highness," or gets out their phone to take a picture. And how long would their errand have taken? 10 minutes at least. Yet no other footage of this startling, headline-making appearance exists. It's almost as if people up close thought, "Yeah, nah, looks like her, but it's not her," and went back to their burgers. So, could it be Kate? I'm not convinced. There's the height differential, but that might be a matter of distance and perspective. Her legs seem different, though. Kate's long and lean, but she has curves. This woman is straighter, more high-waisted. Then there's also how strikingly young and healthy she looks, how much leaner and pointier her jaw. Derisive comparisons have been made with the squarish face of the woman in the car with Kate's mother a week or two earlier. And then there's Heidi Agan, the professional Kate Middleton impersonator. The more I looked at pictures of Kate, pictures of Heidi, pictures of other Kate impersonators, the more this looked to me more like Heidi. Heidi has denied it, so maybe it isn't. But then, in this context, if it was, she'd be contractually bound and well paid to say it wasn't. And if it wasn't, it still didn't look entirely like Kate. Surely I'm mistaken, I thought to myself. A body double? I don't like conspiracy theories. There's got to be some other explanation. Remember, this was before the cancer announcement. Maybe, I thought, this really is Kate Middleton, with a facelift, a lilt in her stride because she's feeling beautiful and looking 10 years younger than she did last year. Maybe it's not a look-alike hired to do a trip to the shops, coached to look up just past that car so Buggerlugs with the phone could get 3 good seconds of her smile, but insufficiently coached in how to look like she's past 40 and still recovering from abdominal surgery, too frail yet for even light duties to help out a monarch in need. I honestly didn't know what to think. Most people seemed quite happy to accept that this putative sighting was yet more proof Catherine is fine, but I couldn't quite allay my concerns. Soon I was saying, surely if it was her, they'll be planning some sort of relaunch now. Will she finally front the cameras, maybe do a soft interview? Or will the next thing be a deep fake? And along comes the Windsor Garden video. Now, I don't have the resources or the skills to detect whether this video, made by BBC Studios, is a deep fake. But I do hope powerful people who do are checking this, because it nicely fits the format. I mean, look at her. What an absolute champion. What a transcendent role model for the cancer community. What an icon of indomitable British womanhood. The princess says she's begun chemo. She looks pale, but serene, immaculate. Her hair is perfect as ever. Seems a little odd that William isn't by her side, but that's William for you. I suppose if this were to be exposed as AI, he couldn't afford to be seen to have collaborated, could he? We can only await independent expert verification of its authenticity. Meanwhile, if you want an independent expert who thinks it's AI, you could start with this ninja nerd. And so we continue to wonder, will Catherine emerge in a few days, weeks, months, with or without a headscarf? Or will she, God forbid, never appear live in public again, and according to the official narrative, tragically succumb to her illness at some carefully curated moment in the future? I'm not saying that I believe that the BBC Studios video is a deep fake and that Catherine, Princess of Wales, is no longer with us. But I also don't believe the inconsistent, obfuscatory, clumsily cobbled narrative we're being fed through overly mediated channels. I don't think we have enough hard evidence to believe anything concrete about the current condition of the Princess of Wales, and that worries the hell out of me. The royal family owes the people of the UK and the Commonwealth more than this. Produce the princess, verifiably alive, or face the consequences of the British monarchy's growing reputation for opacity, ruthlessness, and the chronic scandalous mistreatment of royal wives. Surely your immunity from state inspection of life's most intimate moments is not also immunity from state investigation of the possible concealment of untoward and potentially criminal events. I said earlier that this video was speculation, not allegation, and I stand by that. But there's no shortage of voices alleging. That's the nature of social media. It's also the way revolutions build. If, as many journalists seem to expect, despite Kensington Palace's hedging, Catherine makes an indisputable live appearance sometime soon after Easter, the concerns of countless onlookers for her safety will at last be put to rest. But the questions about just how much internal chaos the British royal family can get away with will remain.